Peace, 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 peace. What's poppin', my weevils? It's your boy, Sincere Seven, coming to you live and direct from the Psychonaut Academy of Detroit, the Pad, representing the House of Genesis. So, we're talking that snake venom and scorpion and animal kingdom of healing and all of that. But today, we're taking it back to the psychedelics. We're taking it back to the psychedelics. Redin Dion Warreo. God dang, that's a mouthful. Redin Didin and Alrero. Peace to you. Yo. So yeah, man, I wanted to come in and just have a little fun today. I had a client, a customer. I had a customer come over the other day, and it was quite interesting. They started asking for things. I'm pulling things out, handing them to them, and then they was like, "All right, so what do I do with this?" And I was like, "Wait, why are you buying it if you don't know what to do with it? Wait, what you mean?" And then, you know what I'm saying? She was saying like, "Yo, it's a lot out here, and I be trying to learn about it, and I be trying to, you know what I'm saying?" So she's just buying stuff, and yo, what up, though? Yeah, Leo in the house. You feel me? She was kind of just, how do I say, wanting to know and experience a lot more with the entheogens and different things, right? So she was very, very, how do I say, I guess, scattered with it, like scattered, like, oh, okay, this. And then it was like, once we was getting things together, it was kind of like a question of how to use it and how to prepare it and, trying to do some dumb shit, pay for the education. You listen, okay. You said that, not me. I was reading, y'all. Okay, I gotta be honest. I agree with Red. I agree with Redden. Like Redden was saying, basically, like, yo, stop doing dumb shit, just buying stuff and just doing stuff and actually educate yourself, And so I agree with you. However, what we have now is, since 2020, there has been a lot of explosions of the entheogenic environment. And there's been a lot of people who have been popping up saying, oh, I can do that. I can grow mushrooms, or I can, sell this or provide people with that, or, go and read up on ayahuasca and say, oh, I can serve somebody a liquid, and you know what I'm saying? So with that, it's been a lot more people just offering people things and telling them, oh, I can give you that, or I can get you that. Let me be very clear, as a medicine man and a shaman in my community for the last 20 plus years or so, there's some things that we don't supply, right? You're not gonna pull up and be like, oh, let me get 5 servings of ayahuasca, let me get 2 servings of yopo, and let me get a gram of bufo. I'm gonna go back to the crib and we all about to have some fun tonight. That's not gonna happen, and if it does, good luck, right? Because a lot of times people are not really understanding what they're dealing with. They're not understanding the power that some of these things actually have, and how, for a while it was presented as if there are no dangers to psychedelics. Those of us in the community wanting and desiring for our spiritual practices to be accepted and to be available to us without the idea of law enforcement and all this other stuff, right? And so with that, people had this whole ideology of presenting things as if everything is just safe and everything is okay. And it's not really like that. You know what I'm saying? So I agree. Pay for the education or just go get it. Let me be very clear. The Psychonaut Academy of Detroit has been a place for at least the last 7, 8 years where people can come get educated and not have to spend $1. It's not pay us and we'll teach you. No. You have to come around. Don't call us. If you call us, it's a consultation. If I got to sit on the phone and talk to you, take time out of my day to talk to you on the phone, that's a consultation. That costs money. But if you're like wondering, what is this? What are mushrooms? What are you using for? Come over. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? What is DMT? What do you use that for? Come over. Let's talk about it, right? So that was what sparked this that I'm about to speak about. Because many times they go out and misrepresent practitioners. Facts. That's right, Redden. But that's how folks take it out here, though. Right. It's so much of that. It's so much of people seeing what these things have brought to other individuals who have worked with them. Listen to what I said. People are seeing the realities are coming to other people who have worked with them, and they see it and they decide to use them. You can work with psychedelics and entheogens, or you can use psychedelics and entheogens. To me, it's a difference. So, with that being said, I wanted to come on today and just kick it a little bit about some of the different entheogens as well as psychedelics and talk about what they're used for. Because now it's a whole lot of, have you heard of this? Oh, let's do that. Oh, let's get that. Let's try that. What do you use it for? Why are you trying to do this? Now it is a fad. People are using psychedelics and entheogens as a fad. They're using them like they use drugs, like they use alcohol, like they use sex, like they use music, right? We got people who are utilizing these things to bring about a change in a person's consciousness while entering situations that a person's consciousness should actually be there. Yeah, if y'all know what I mean. So I just wanted to get on a minute and just talk about, some of the different psychedelics, some of the different entheogens, some of the different modalities that are used and what they're used for. So for people who are wondering about these things and having questions and need some education, you can get that. You don't have to go somewhere where if you ask a question, they're answering it like, oh, yeah, that's perfect for that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you can get that. Yeah, they want your money. They're going to tell you what okay, here go one. Here go one. This is one of my favorite ones. Oh, the Enigma? I've heard of those. What do they do? And then the person starts telling them what they do. Oh man, they're visual, and it's gonna make you feel like this, and it's gonna make you think that, and then you're gonna go here and you're gonna experience. When people say to me, "Oh, I've heard of those mushrooms," yeah, what do those do? My answer to them is, I'm not sure what they're gonna do to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure what your spiritual security clearance is. I'm not sure what your practices are. I'm not sure if you've actually made connection or not. So how can I tell you what you're going to experience off of these? Did you get through? Because if you didn't get through, then everything you're going through is going to be more of a, let's focus on you and who and what you are so that we can change that. Because you ain't getting up in here like that. Let's be very clear. You ain't coming here like that. It's a dress code in this motherfucker. And you got no class. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, some people are looking to get high. That's true. They say don't know the environment folks are growing the mushrooms in. Who is this? You is dropping shit. It's a woman. Yeah, Shorty, you dropping it. Say that shit again, right? That's something that I used to speak about real big. And that was why I used to invite a lot of my clients and customers, because there's a difference, to start growing their own. And I would explain to them how the mycelium is intelligent, how the mycelium can hear, how the mycelium can feel, how the mycelium can pick up. So when you walking around in your house all day, whatever you're saying out loud, chin you DM, check your DM. Okay, we'll do. Whatever you say, like you arguing with your girl, I fucking hate you, you stupid bitch, woo, woo, woo. Fuck you motherfucker, you ain't shit, your mama ain't shit. Mycelium is hearing all of that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But let's flip it over on the other side. If you got a peaceful place, you get up, light a little incense, play some, you know what I'm saying, tunes in the morning, and do your morning mantra or your prayer, or, you know what I'm saying, greet your motherfucking mate in a peaceful way and discuss the things that y'all want to manifest and bring forward. The mycelium's hearing that. Yeah. So the more that you interact with your mycelium before they actually fruit mushrooms, we are going to say that that actually affects the growth of the mushrooms and what and where they go and do. This is why I always tell people, yo, be careful about getting mushrooms from people who sell drugs. Mushrooms is not a drug. Cannabis is not a drug, right? So for me, knowing that they carry a consciousness, a vibration, an energy. Oh, let's go a little bit deeper. How many of y'all are familiar with the water test where they tell water, I love you. You are beautiful. I support you. And that water forms a different crystalline structure that can be seen under a microscope to be beautiful and resilient and fractal and carry on. Fractals are kind of like the pattern for expansion, whereas when things are non-fractal or what would that day be? I can't remember the name of it, but there's no structure to it. It's just, that doesn't offer or give that same ability for growth in a full and complete way. The memory of water, thank you, right? And so, with that being said, if you think about how powerful words, energy, and all of that is to water, and then take and keep in mind that mushrooms are about 80% water. Now you feel where I'm coming from, right? Okay. Not to mention, and they interdimensional, and they are an intelligent life force, right? And so when it comes to the mushrooms, I do invite people to be very, hey, holy water, I like that, to be very cautious and aware of, you know, where they come from, who made them, who grew them, and I invite you to get into growing your own. If y'all interested, we have grow kits available. We don't advertise a whole lot over here. It's a chore from like, oh, I got to advertise something. When you see it, it's like I thought it through, like, oh, I need to do that because I'm supposed to or something. But no, everybody who knows, y'all know. So those are still here. Anything that we've ever had, we still do. We just don't advertise. So if you are new to the mushrooms and all of that, and you are interested in growing your own, we have grow kits available. Now, let's go further. Because remember, we're talking, you would say, if psychedelics were knives, do you know what to use them for and when? Now, let me be clear. The manufacturer of the dopest knife set in the world has an intention for every knife that they created. But when you get it at home, you can use it for whatever the fuck you want. So this is not a, oh, you're doing it wrong or da-da-da-da-da or any of that. This is more of a, you know what I'm saying, fun discussion around psychedelics and entheogens as if they were knives. We all know that we got 2 forks and 2 spoons in the drawer. Maybe some people might have 3 or 4 of each. You got the soup spoon, you got the teaspoon, you got the tablespoon, you got, and then there's another one, right? I ain't take the class, right? When you got forks, you got a salad fork, you got an entree fork, you got a dessert, I don't know, right? I haven't had mushrooms in years, a result of sourcing. You came online right on time. Just sent you some messages to some folks. What? Sourcing? I guess because you mean a reputable source. Because, girl, you could throw a rock in any direction right now and hit 5 people who got mushrooms. Since 2020, everybody started growing. That's why I stopped advertising. I'm going to sit back and see who's still here in 5 years. I don't see most of them anymore. But anyway, so back to it. Look, I be talking about shit, y'all. Y'all know I be talking about shit. Listen, I ain't throwing those shots, though. I'm just saying, like I always say, stop me when I'm telling a lie, all right? So mushrooms, all right. In the kitchen knife set. That's the one that's grabbed out the most. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know the big knife with the big blade. It come down like that, kind of fat at the end, sharp, and he just cut the tomatoes, cut the potato. I cut everything in this motherfucker. I'm telling you right now, that knife is used 90% of the time in my house for everything. Just keep it on 100. When you got the knife sets with 8 different knives, that big fat motherfucker right there, that's the one I use for most of the shit, right? Oh, okay, been following me Clubhouse. Okay, no doubt. So with that, that's what I mean when I say I'm not judging, because you know what I'm saying? You're gonna do what you want because it's comfortable for you, right? But what is that knife actually for? When it was created by people, what do they say that knife was used for? Because it ain't a bread knife, because the bread knife got the little ridges and it's real long. Right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like that, but I cut bread with that motherfucker too. See? So I guess for me, that would be the mushrooms. You know what I'm saying? That big knife, because it's like you can do everything with that. And that's how the mushrooms are. Like there's different entheogens that are terrestrial, such as peyote, and some extraterrestrial, such as mushrooms would be that. But because they're extraterrestrial, they can do everything that the terrestrials can do and more. That's what I'm trying to put out there. Because so like a lot of the stuff that we deal with is terrestrial, like mental health. That's terrestrial. That's based off of the body and the composition and the chemicals in the right, all of this. So it's terrestrial. So when you're dealing with ayahuasca, this is ancestral. And ancestral is the last link in the terrestrial dealing with spiritual. Hope I ain't going too far, but y'all know how we do. It's Kush Coffee. Follow me. Right? But then you have something like Changa, which they call smokable ayahuasca. But if you've ever used it, you know that you're still in this dimension. You know what I'm saying? You're still in this dimension. Yeah. And so when you look at that, the mushrooms tend to can cover the basis of almost all other entheogens. Whatever they can do, mushrooms can do at the right amount. You have to find the right amount to tune it into that energy. It can be as, how do I say? Okay, watch how you say this. It can be as expressional as Bufo, if you take enough. And it can be as passive as Changa, if you take the right amount, right? So mushrooms tend to be that all the way through, right? And so the next one, let's talk about the next one real quick. I'm gonna throw this out there. DMT, everywhere, DMT is my least favorite out of all of the psychedelics. Like straight, free-base, powdered DMT. Just, boom, just put it in the, break through. So for me, I feel like DMT is the initiation into psychedelics. DMT gives people the ability to enter the realm or dimension of nothingness. And this is where how do I say it? This is the foundation for entheogenic trips to be built on. First, you have to get into another dimension. And now, whatever is happening can happen. So for me, DMT is not something that I use. I don't feel like I probably, if I ever use it again, it's because I'm probably doing a ceremony or, you know, I'm like a group and everybody's doing. So it's like, all right, so I'm going to do it so you all can follow me. Right. But other than that, I don't have a need for DMT. To me, as I speak to people who have heard me talk about this before, DMT is a university that is not having classes. Like, it's the summertime. There's no classes, no courses, nobody's on campus, the teacher's not there, the janitor might be there. You know what I'm saying? That's when people say, I seen a skeleton or I seen an alien. That was the janitor, right? It's a college. It's like you could say, I've been to Harvard. You've been to Harvard? Yeah. What you study? Nothing. I just went in there, walked through the buildings. I seen the computer lab, and I seen the medical lab, and I seen the library. I walked through the entire thing. That's DMT. Wait, wasn't no teachers there? No, I wasn't no teachers there. Wasn't nothing hanging. I ain't never heard nobody come out of a DMT trip and be like, oh my God, so I just learned and I brought back this and the code to this. I ain't never heard nobody bring back nothing from a DMT trip except for the stories of what I saw. Oh, I saw this and I saw this and then I felt like this. But it's never nothing that is like, you know what I'm saying? All right, you right? And so it kind of gives a person the feeling of going into a trip. And so for me, it's like, okay, boom, a client comes and, we're dealing with whatever we're dealing with, and they are scared or apprehensive, right, for the mushroom trip, 7 grams, right? It's like, okay, I don't want you to go in there scared. I don't want you fighting the trip the whole time. So how do we put your foot in the pool? How do we give you the understanding? No, look, it's just water. See, it's warm too. No, if you just get in, it's like, you put your foot in the pool, pull it back out, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm ready to jump off the diving board now. When I go in, I know exactly how it's going to feel. That's DMT. It just puts you in there. Oh my God, I feel entheogenic. And then you wake back up. What was it, 5-10 minutes? That's it. Yeah, then you wake up. Oh my God, I saw fractals. And I saw it. Wow. Cool. That's it. So that's, for me, what I use DMT for is introducing people to the entheogenic realm. Now, wait a minute. So are you saying there's no use for DMT7? No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it is my least favorite. Now, keep that in mind what I'm saying by that. That means out of all of the options I have, that's the last one I would pick. Well, wait a minute. How many people have all the options you have? Most don't. I'm not going to say nobody, right? But somebody said to me one day, they was like, damn, I would challenge somebody right now to find somebody in the next tri-state area, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, that has more in their magic box than you. And I was like, and I started thinking about all the things that I had. And I was like, oh, nah, you're right. I probably do got one of the coldest magic boxes in the tri-state area, right? And so what I'm saying by that is everybody doesn't have in their pockets changa and DMT and mushrooms and MDMA and LSD and whatever else you might use for your spiritual practice, yopo and mescaline and peyote and scorpion venom and snake, right? So to say, DMT is the least my favorite, or the least favorite out of all of them, and motherfuckers going all of them, I got like 2. Like, I got access to mushrooms and DMT. That's it. The rest of that shit you named, what's that shit do, right? For those people, DMT is dope. Because let's keep in mind, what I'm saying is I have access to all of these different things that do all of these different things. So I go through all of these different things. There's never a need for that. But for people who don't have access to all those different things, you are operating with your default mode network. Your default mode network. That's what it's called. Your DMN. It's in your brain. It's your consciousness. It's how you think about yourself, talk about yourself, walk about yourself, express about yourself. It's your default. Like, oh, if you think you're fat, that's your default mode network. If you think you ugly, if you think you, whatever it is that's negative, even positive, whatever it is that you think, that's your default mode network, and it just kind of operates. And nothing really changes that except for maybe like something that'll put a crease in your brain, like a experience that you go through that is really deep, that will cause, you know what I'm saying? It's something natural but it has to be something you went through. You know what I'm saying? You met your favorite rapper and they tell you the baddest motherfucker they ever met. Your idea of yourself is going to change that day. That is a dramatic, like, that's like, wow, oh my God. Like Beyonce told me, I'm finer than a motherfucker. I'm not a fan of Beyonce. I'm just using that for those of you who are. And you always thought you was ugly. It changed Jay-Z's life. When Beyonce, listen, I don't be judging dudes, okay? But if I was to bet Jay, all right, put us in the room with 10 ladies and they could just see us, nigga. That's it. They could just see us, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Let them vote who they lead. bruh, yeah, I bet 100,000 I beat you, right? Type shit, right? But when Beyonce told him, you is beautiful, and sung all them songs to him, Jay-Z is the finest dude on the planet in his mind now, right? That's your default mode network. So when you take entheogens and psychedelics, you hit reset on your default mode network. Now, a lot of people don't know this. This is why we talk about people that take these entheogens and they go and have fun and they go and do shit, and that's cool. But what happens if you out, you on some psychedelics, default mode, just hit reset, and the motherfucker you with his asshole, and they start talking shit about you, people in the room start laughing, or they start sexualizing you. And whatever it is, you could actually reset your default mode network under that fucking circumstance and situation. That's why I don't just be popping off and doing any of this type of shit with just anybody. People tell you I had a bad trip. Well, what happened? So I was out with these motherfuckers and we was at some club. And wait, who was the motherfuckers? I know two of them. The other three, they just wait a minute. You was under a mind-altering substance with motherfuckers you don't know, hanging out in a place where it's a whole lot of fucked up like, again, do what you want. Cut your bread with the motherfucking fillet knife if you want, with your flat ass sandwiches. Okay, that's all I'm saying, right? So your default mode network, when you open that up, yo, you need to, yeah, for sure. You need to, okay, hold on, let me slow down. Hold on. You know, I'm feeling this shit. This is my shit right here. Okay. Breathe. Woo! All right, hold on. Okay. When you open up your consciousness and you reset your default mode network, you need to be ready to immediately, intentionally feed yourself the new networking model. You follow me? So I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm depressed because of the fucked up shit I did, and this is what happened to me, and it was drastic, and it created a network, a default mode in my network that I've been operating on for the last 3 years, and it's causing me to suck at my job and suck at my relationships, and I know I need to do something before I get too far off. However it is, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of ways to do it, Theo. Just, I don't know if you blowing up your nose, you putting it under your tongue, dripping on your eye, you know what I'm saying? Smoking it, drinking it, dabbing it on your skin. But whatever you did, boom, that entheogen kick in. Both hemispheres of your brain start communicating with each other at the same time. Usually you're only using one hemisphere of your brain at a time. But at this time, now they're both connected. And so at this point now, you can feed input or take output, right? You can look into yourself, ask yourself questions that are going to come from the depth of the self, and it's going to come out deep, real, true. Or you can feed yourself a new default mode network, the upgrade, Redden, yeah, the upgrade, right? And so you go in and you tell yourself, yo, you was beautiful. You was solid. You a real motherfucker. The work you do is for your peoples. Your integrity is beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. That's what creates, and that's what makes you who you are. You've done this, and you just start to reinforce yourself with the positive things. The individuals around you, you all should be having conversations that reinforces each other's default mode network. This is why things such as like MDMA works so great in couples counseling. See, because not only are you upgrading your own network, but you are reinforcing your mate's network, because they have, come on, think about it. When you have a mate, think about the default mode network where you did something to make them mad. You did something to disappoint them. And now they have a type of energy. And now you're feeding yourself that, oh shit, I'm fucking up. They're thinking about leaving me. They're thinking about this, right? And then you start to have this energy in your relationship where you are insecure, where you're fearful, where you're needy. It happens naturally. over conversations, comments, things that happen. And it creates a new default mode. And when you realize that, boom, hey, we need to, hey, let's go in together. Not and go, everybody want to have mushrooms. Everybody want to have sex. I had sex on mushroom. I had sex on sex. I'll be doing that too. But it's important to first utilize, if you wish, these entheogens to bring about positive changes in you and your environment. I don't think a lot of people understand the power that these entheogens have when you are utilizing them. Redden said after microdosing a few days to weeks later, the integration is real. The neural pathways open, always feel like a fog is lifted. That's right. Because it is. Because it literally is. That's that default mode network is like. So for those of us who constantly go in on different things and alter our character, alter our spirit, and do these works, this wouldn't be that big of a deal. But if you only have mushrooms and DMT, let me be very clear. The mushrooms, we know when we go in on 7 grams, at the Psychonaut Academy Detroit, we all go in on 7 grams. I don't know what y'all do out there. Every single person who I've held space for in the Psychonaut Academy in Detroit in the last 20 years has done 7 grams. Their first trip. Let me just be very clear. So I hear now that I communicate with a lot of other psychedelic communities that, oh, that's a lot. 7? No, that's the start. Like, if we're using it for spiritual works, we got to get to the spiritual realms. Like, you're not going spiritual off of 2 grams. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a difference between altered states of consciousness and an altered state of perception. And a lot of people keep talking about ASCs and they're only doing ASPs. You're only altering your perception until you actually go to a altered state of consciousness. You got to understand what that really means. You're not operating under the same consciousness. When you're doing 2 and 3 grams, most of the time you're in the same consciousness. You're just doing an altered state of perception. And let me be very clear, you can alter things within yourself because your default mode network is still open. Now, that's why I always say there's a difference in doing character growth and development work and doing spiritual work. If you're looking to actually gain spiritual security clearances in the interdimensional realms, I would invite you to start off on 7 grams. To build a security clearance, you do 3 7-gram trips. And then after that, then you can go up to 9 grams. After the 9 grams, go back and do 7 grams again. After that, go and do 12 grams. Come back, do 7 grams again. 7 grams is your landing pad. Okay, it's your space station. All right? There's no space station in the cumulus clouds. The cumulus clouds is still inside of the perimeter of the terrestrial zone, the Earth. Okay, y'all following me? Okay. So, DMT is great for those who don't have access to a lot of other things because you can immediately connect your default mode network. But you have to work very fast coming out. You have to be very intentional because DMT is very powerful and it takes you all the way in real quick. Boom, gives you the fractals, gives you the skeletal, the aliens, the realms of nothingness, and then it snatches you back. 10 minutes at best, unless you do a MAOI. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? That's a little more advanced. So let me bring it to the next one, which is Changa. Changa. From DMT to Changa. Changa is one of my favorites. It's in the top 3, for sure. Okay? Changa is beautiful. It is, as we said, smokable ayahuasca. What it really is herbs, DMT-infused herbs. It started off as smokable ayahuasca. That was what the individual in Australia had in mind when he created it. And it is that. It does not make you purge like the drinkable ayahuasca, not usually. And the experience is a lot more quicker. right? Ayahuasca, 4 to 6 hours. Changa, 10 to 15 minutes without an MAOI. With the MAOI, I've heard 25, 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So it depends. It depends on the strength of the MAOI, all of that. But the beauty of it is that the difference in Changa and DMT is that the Changa still has the plant teachers in it. See, when I was taught to extract DMT, I understood why DMT operates the way it does. DMT, dimethyltryptamine, is referred to as the God molecule. No, excuse me. The spirit molecule. 5-MeO-DMT is the God molecule. DMT is known as the spirit molecule because it's the molecule that you use to open up the spiritual realms to get there. That's it. It's like the bus. You know what I'm saying? And then you're there. But the way you make it is you strip the DMT from plants. You extract it. There's a lot of science and things that we do. And so by the time that we finish, the only thing that is in there is DMT. That's it. There is no plant teacher. DMT from acacia root, DMT from Mimosa hostilis root bark, DMT from chacruna. Doesn't matter where you get the DMT from. Once you extract it in a scientific way, there's nothing left but DMT. DMT probably don't even know what plant it came from anymore. You follow me? So when you use it and it opens up that spiritual realm, that's what it does. But there's no plant teacher present, which is why there's no experience present. Now, are y'all understanding what I'm saying? So when you use Changa, okay, Changa is herbs or plant teachers infused with DMT. The original plants for Changa was the Banisterius capivine and the chacruna leaf, or whichever leaf they used for the DMT, right? And so when they created that was the original. And then they infused it with DMT. So when you went into that's why they called it smokable ayahuasca. Most of the DMT most of the Changa that we have access to now is not smokable ayahuasca because it does not have the actual, exactly, the capi root and the chacruna leaves. DMT sounds like you just go on tour. Kind of, yeah. You just see the stages, but there's nobody actually singing, you know what I'm saying, type is. So when you use the Changa and it has the plant teachers in it, when it had the ayahuasca plants, when you would go into the realm, you would get the jungle, you would get the jaguar, and you know what I'm saying, the snake, and all of that energy would be there because those was the teachers that was present when you got there. But what happened is other, practitioners started to understand that you could infuse the DMT into different smokable herbs. You can use some mullein. You can use some blue lotus. You can use all of these. So they started coming up with their own Changa blends, which is cool. But I'm very cautious because herbs and stones and crystals and animals and all of these kingdoms, right? The mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the fungi kingdom, the animal kingdom, and the kingdom of man. Every single one of them kingdoms has beef. Like, I don't fuck with you. Like, if I show up and you there, it's going down. You know what I'm saying? If I'm throwing a party, I'm not finna invite my polar bear homeboys and my penguin homeboys. That's not finna happen. It's finna be some shit going down. So I might invite the polar bears. I might invite, a couple, brown bears, the little small ones. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? So when it comes to Changa, people started mixing certain herbs together, and every herb don't go together. Yeah, it sounds cool. Yeah, you like those herbs. Yeah, you're going to put the passion flower and the rose and the blue lotus. Okay, I feel where you're going with this. It's real feminine and all that. But have you ever put 10 women in a room that don't know each other together? That's not always going to be a beautiful thing because they women. They have different energy. I'm not going to put the rose and the blue lotus and the passion flower and the, you know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, that's too much, right? I might put this and that. I might put the lavender and the chamomile, right, with a little bit of this to support, right? And so the changas got to be in like, hey, so there's certain changas for those of y'all who do dream work that can prepare you. My changa is made out of Entheogens, which are substances that take you into the sleep work, lucid dreaming, astral traveling, dream walking, dream planting, these types of things, because that's where I do a lot of my works. So when you smoke the changa, when you're done and you go to bed, now those Entheogens activate and you get lucid dreaming and astral travel and all this other cool shit. So I use Entheogens in my mix, right? So you want to know the mix, what's all in there, you know. So changa's gotten kind of, you know, pretty not complicated, but things you got to ask about. Second thing is the ratio. What is the ratio? What is the DMT to herb ratio? Because there's a lot of people who out here just want to, you know what I'm saying, be out here selling things. Okay, let me be very clear. And they tell you got some changa, because they do. It's some herbs infused with DMT. But it's 1 gram of DMT and 10 grams of herbs. And a 1 to 10 ratio is crazy. And they still charge you 150. 1 to 10. Man, if you don't stop playing with me, I wouldn't even make that. I wouldn't even make that. You just wasted a gram of DMT. So like, what's mine? Like 2 grams DMT, 3 grams of herb. Oh my, yeah, right? You feel me? So it's like that matters because that is going to change the amount you need, right? Or the distance you go, right? So you want to know the mix of the herbs and you want to know the ratio. Okay, so what you use changa for? Smokable ayahuasca. Smokable ayahuasca, right? So it's like you can go in and do healing. You can go in and you can do magic. You can go in and you can do mirror magic, right? Sit in the mirror, smoke it, and look directly at yourself. Because remember, you just activated your default mode network. Yeah, and you sit in that mirror and you tell yourself, you are beautiful. You are gracious. You are courageous. You know what I'm saying? Do a lot of that. What do y'all call that? What's that, y'all? The music you listen to, and it's like, yeah, like it bigs you up and all that music.
The affirmations.
Affirmations. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Do your affirmations when you want what? You know what I'm saying? Also for magicians, if you're a practitioner and you use mushrooms for magic and you never use changa, oh, I invite you to get you some changa, because you can go in and lay down your spell, your invocation, and literally place it into. It's kind of like going directly to the post office as opposed to putting some shit in the post office or on your mailbox and telling your postman, come pick it up. He gonna take it to the post office. They gonna put it in there. They gonna ship it. They gonna put it in there and fly it over. And like, no, I'm gonna go there myself and hand it to whoever I was gonna mail it to. You smoke the because like when you're doing magic, I don't know about y'all, but when I started studying magic, it was explaining how to do these different spells and things, right? And then when I started to practice magic, I would do it in a conscious state. That's what I'm saying. And then as I started to go deeper, I started to understand that the things that we're doing, we're placing into the realms, right? We're sending into the realms in these different codes and ways. And I was like, well, I go into the realms all the time. Like, why don't I just place them directly in there? Kind of like how you'll do sex magic, right? And when you get to the orgasmic state, boom, you'll do your mantras, you'll do your what's that? Where you seeing it, all that type. You know, you're doing your works, but you can do an entheogen and go in and do it. But I was using mushrooms, so I go in, I might do some work in the realms, but I still got hours to be doing whatever else and getting whatever else. So when I got introduced to Chang, I realized, oh wow, this is perfect, because I can smoke the Chang and go directly into the realms, do your invocation, do your magic, do your whatever it is, visualizations. Thank you, Reddit. And then you come back out 15, 20 minutes later, and it's back to whatever I'm got to do. I'm talking about I could be at work and hit the car on the lunch break, and hit that boy. Boom, go in, say what I want to say, do what I want to do, and come back out. Boom, lunch over, go back to work. They like, damn, he may came back from work and did, you know what I'm saying, double the amount he did on his first one, man. I want commissions, right? So that changa is beautiful for practitioners as well. Another thing that's beautiful changa is for people who do like ayahuasca journeys. When you do an ayahuasca journey, part of the journey is an MAOI, which is a monoamino oxidase inhibitor. So basically what that means is it when you take it, it gives the body the ability to absorb more and experience more of what you're using. Okay. And it gives it the ability for it to be longer. Okay. So you do your ayahuasca journey, you in there 46 hours, you come out, you come back to consciousness, right? You do whatever it is that, you know what I'm saying, your shaman or whatever might do. If they do a little integration, if they do a little, you know what I'm saying, whatever, you take your changa and you blow it and you go back in. You don't have to purge again. You don't have to go through all that again. You just hit the changa and you go back into the realms, especially if you have actual smokable ayahuasca changa, because it's the same realm. You just go back, and since you have taken the ayahuasca, there's an MAOI active, and so now that is going to allow you to stay in them realms much longer. So when I serve people ayahuasca, I give them the options when they come out to either do some changa, some mushrooms, or some yopo, and any of those they choose, they go back in, usually for another couple hours, and they always experience and explain back that the second one was so much more lighter, but it was just as deep, you know. So making maximum use of the MAOI that you took, you know what I'm saying? So if you going to take some ayahuasca, take a little changa stick with you, right? If your, you know, shaman or whatnot allows that, you always got to check with them. Don't do nothing that they don't know about. But so changa is beautiful for that. Changa is beautiful for mental health, right? If you find yourself stressed, angry, frustrated, dealing with a lot of those issues, changa would be like where the microdose is the minor. Like I'm doing works, right? During the day I'm microdosing, and then like every Friday I'll smoke some changa. That's how I would invite one of my clients to use it for mental health, right? If you are using ashwagandha or microdoses to assist you with your mental and your spiritual and emotional health throughout the days, through the week, so I won't be frustrated, I won't be angry, I won't be this. If you got that type of energy, I would invite you to add using changa one time on the weekend into that. You microdose through the week on Friday or Saturday night or Sunday. You hit that changa. Yeah, mental health. Because it's going to just kind of like how weed takes off that for people who smoke weed. Like y'all know how we be getting frustrated, be aggravated, you know what I'm saying? Be like, smoke. All right. So look, this is what it was. Let me just say, like, I was just getting a little, you know what I'm saying? It's like gives us the ability to just call, like, it gets the frustration off. Whatever we was feeling is still there, but now we can express it more. It's kind of like that, but on a deeper spiritual level. Because for me, cannabis is for my character. My cannabis use, I don't do a lot of spiritual work with cannabis. I do more character growth and development with cannabis. So for me, if I'm going to do some spiritual work, I'm going to use changa. So changa is like a spiritual cannabis for me, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? If, on the mental health type of tip. So yeah, and it's also a beautiful, like, if you do a lot of spiritual works with mushrooms, because some people like just might take mushrooms, like we said, recreationally, they take a couple gram, whatever. But if you in the 7 gram plus, like a lot of us are, and you do these works, you know what I'm saying? Changa is a beautiful in between trips experience. Like, oh, okay, I did, you know what I'm saying, 15 grams. It's gonna be a few months, but you know, I just want to just kind of just feel and jump into spiritual, kind of like it's like church, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like listening to gospel at home during the week because you can't get to church till Sunday, like that type of tip. I ain't going in on this again until, so I smoke some changa, get me like 15-20 minutes out in the realms and just answer some questions, get some whatever it is. So it's kind of like that. So yeah, that's that, you know. So DMT is cool. And then they got the DMT pens. The DMT pens, that's a lot of times for those who want to add to something they're doing, right? Like they might be on some MDMA or LSD or mushrooms, and when they peak, they'll hit the DMT pen. It's increasing, like, okay. Some people like to use the DMT pens for meditation, right? Like they'll hit that a few times while they're going into meditation. And I'm like, that's dope, right? So the DMT pens, you're not actually looking for the breakthrough. You're actually more looking for, from what I've been explaining, because again, I'm not a fan of it, right? But that feeling of how it builds up. Because when you're on other things, it adds to it and it kind of, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's dope, right? So let me see what we talk about. We talk about the mushrooms, the changa, the DMT. Okay, so the Molly, listen, people be like, wait a minute, you've used Molly? And I'd be like, yes, I have used MDMA. And they'd be like, but it's not natural. And I'd be like, I know, but it's scientific. I'm not just a shaman, I'm also a scientist. It's differences in all of these things. I'm just a real unorthodox dude. And my life path number was a 7. So jumping into all of these mystery schools and into this, into the magic, it's like when I would go through different things, they would take me into meeting different people and I would learn different. And so I'm a scientist too. And so a lot of people be surprised because I explain how I feel about natural medicine. Yeah, I'm not doing no synthetic 5-MeO DMT. No, I'm doing it from the frog. But see, this is because I have the connection with nature and I know what these things are. However, I also have a connection with science. And I've read a lot of the books and it gives you the breakdown on how these things are created and how they're made in the lab and what these things are. And I'm like, oh, snap. And the ideas that these people had were revolutionary. Like to take the feeling that I get off of this, and then the emotions I get off of this, and then the visions I get off of this, and to make something in a chemical compound that will give me a connection to all of those at the same time, right? And some of these things are made from, right? Like DMT is extracted. Well, some of these things are extracted from things like sassafras, right? So, when it comes to the MDMA, I am a supporter of it. If anybody was wondering, yes, I do use it, even though it's not natural. And I swear by it. It is one of the greatest things that I have ever used in my practices for communication of deep emotional, mental, and spiritual truths without having to be in a altered states of consciousness. Like when you on mushrooms, if a person is able to get, because again, remember, we take 7 grams plus. So I guess if you're taking 2 or 3 grams, you might already have this where discussions about traumas and violations and all of these things, you can go deep in and just share openly without, like, you know, it bothering you and all of these type of things, right? Man, that right there, I'm talking about, like, that is the greatest counseling, the greatest dare I say the word psychotherapy, right? And so for me, it's great for default mode network resetting within relationships because it's also one of a great heart opener, empathogen, So it makes you feel trusted and trusting and loved. So it makes it easier to share. And so in relationships, these are what you would use to have those discussions that you swear if you even bring this up, they're going to want to leave. If I even bring it up, no, not if y'all using this. No, not like it's not going to happen like that. Trust me, not with you using this. Because the empathogenic opening is going to give them the ability to trust you and love you and to listen to you without judgment and it's like it's so dope. So that's why I love that. And it can also be aphrodisiac. Okay, but do your works first, then eat your dessert. Okay, vegetables first, then dessert. So yes, acid, LSD, like the documentary I was on not Netflix, on Hulu, with National Geographic, LSD and the Psychedelic Revolution. That's the name of it. So it was about LSD back in the 80s, and then they shelved it because the war on drugs was like, maybe we shouldn't do it. And then once psychedelics and entheogens started to make a comeback, they was like, hey, bring that back out and let's remake it. And so they included a lot of other things. But they started with LSD and the Psychedelic Revolution, right? So the LSD, that is what I call the Psychonauts playground. And I'm gonna explain that in a second, but I want to see what Red said. I have cancer in the 12H. I go in without any substance. So when I go in, it's to tap into my inner therapist to speak in other realms and learn other things to bring back here. Exactly. Yeah, that's how we like to use it too. Everybody do differently, but yeah, I'm with you on that one. So the LSD is what I refer to as the Psychonauts playground or the Psychonauts amusement park. And what I mean by that is that what I like about LSD is that for me, let me be very clear. For me, when I take entheogens or psychedelics, I go to work. Not like, oh, I'm about to take these and I'm about to go do. No, when I take them, I go to work. It's like that's the shaman part. It's like I don't know what I'm about to do or who or whatever, and then it starts to take me places and to reveal things. It starts to right, and so that's what I mean when I say I go to work. Like I don't have like, oh, I was doing this and I was doing that and seeing sparkles. No, I'm dealing with something. So, LSD was the first thing that I took that it kicked in, and I was like, oh shit, this is oh, okay, I see what this is. And I was waiting on the work to start. And it was like, shit, do what you want to do. And I was like, whatever. And I just started just doing all type of stuff. Because my first time I took it by myself. And so I was doing all types of stuff. I ended up naked on the floor with a carpet that had, like I had this shag carpet. The whole carpet was just nothing but long threads. So when you laid it out, it just kind of laid down. It was really fucking beautiful. And I was laying there naked on the carpet. And I was pulling it and I was like, wow, you have locks just like me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just feeling good and everything. And I'm just experiencing. It's kind of like being in a magic forest and you're just walking around. Remember my man Avatar when he first went there and he's just walking around? It was like that. It was just like everything was just magical. Everything was cool, fun. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't no work. I was like the whole night and I was amazed when I came out that it didn't make me go see something, make me like mushrooms. They're gonna give you a mission. No, you about to get this work. You know what I'm saying? Ayahuasca, no, baby, you about to pay attention. You about to get this work. You know what I'm saying? All of them like make you go to work or go to school or go to church. That was like an amusement park, right? Ayahuasca. Let's not now moving on because that's all I got to say about that. I'm boom. That's it. Moving on. Ayahuasca. When I pull that knife out of the drawer, for me, that has specific uses, and usually it's around healing. It's around healing. For me, when people come and they get educated and they be like, okay, well, if I wanted to start a journey, right, what would you invite me to do. And I'll be like, I'll invite you to do the Cambo to cleanse your body, and then do ayahuasca so that you can heal from anything. Any emotional, anything that you did, you can't forgive yourself for, anything that somebody's done to you that you can't forgive them for, anything, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all of that, character growth, like any of that is thrown off and it's crooked. Ayahuasca is like a spiritual chiropractor. I'm going in there and I'm straightening that shit out. And so for me, I invite people to do the Cambo for the internal cleansing, and then the ayahuasca for the cleansing and healing of the spirit, the mind, the body. And then you're prepared to do the mushrooms, because those are more for travel and exploration than they are for healing. Now, remember we said mushrooms can do anything that the rest of them can do if you take the right dose. So yes, you can utilize mushrooms the way we utilize ayahuasca, but why not just use the knife that's the best in the drawer? So for me, that's that bread knife, and that's the bread. We can use a different knife to cut the bread or to heal these traumas and all of that. We can use, but there's one specially for this, and it's beautiful. And it like keeps the crispy edges. It keeps the integrity of the bread. You know what I'm saying? It cuts it perfectly. It's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's the only thing, because, you can utilize it for, like the purple herb, going to the ancestral realms, going and answering questions when you're frustrated, things like this. But I find that since ayahuasca is one of those medicines that are served to you, and you don't necessarily have access to do it quite often, it's more or less one of those that usually ayahuasca. Some people have had 8, 9, 10, 11 ayahuasca journeys, and I'm going, wow, what? It's not my business, right? But generally ayahuasca is one of those things where you only need it a few times, and after that you shouldn't need it, but you might want it. You might go in default mode network. You might not have access to other things. So not knocking it, just saying, just for me, having access to all of these different things, boom, let's get some healing in, and that's done with. Now let's take the rest of these things and go and experience what you want to experience. So so that's my take on ayahuasca. Bufo. Bufo. Wow. What can I say about Bufo? So Bufo is the strongest empathogen on earth. That's how I see Bufo. Bufo, like, listen, mental health, yep, you can use it for that, yep, if you want, yep. Exploration, yeah, I mean, if you see that like that, right? Just a reset mentally, life-wise, spiritually, all of that. Yeah, all of that is cool. But to understand and to gain a relationship with love, that's what Bufo is about. Like MDMA is helping you to manage your love. Bufo gives you a connection and a supreme connection and understanding of love. Like where you understand that there does not need to be another person in existence outside of you for love to be at its fullest, its greatest. Some people talk about how I move and how I act and how I present myself and my careless state of the repercussions from that. And it's like, yeah, that's because I do Bufo. Like when you go through like people who have lost their life and then open their eyes the next day. 50 Cent, Kanye West, Jamie Foxx, he just got added to the list. When you've lived a life where things have happened to where you were supposed to die and you don't, and you remain here, you lose your ability to care about how other people see, feel, and respond to you. That's what's going on with these people. People like, oh, 50 Cent, oh, Kanye West, and Seven Always. And it's like, we're mad because you won't bow down to other people's fucking opinions and what we want you to do with your life. And we're going, I lost this and I got it back. I'm not sharing it with you. And so Bufo, Mike Tyson, gives you the ability to be like, oh, I can share this with you. I can share this with you. Because I love me. And I don't know if that's hard for y'all to understand if you ain't experienced it, but that's what Bufo is. Bufo is the most supreme, like Oise is like base jumping off a cliff into the heart of God. What do you think you will care about another human's opinion of you or what you do after that, especially if you move in integrity? You don't care. You don't care. So Bufo is the ultimate, I don't give a fuck because now I see the truth. And it opens up a new state of compassion, a new state of humanitarianism, a new state. Like when you look at Mike Tyson and you see him, who he is now, that's all Bufo, baby. His state of not wanting to hurt or destroy. He's not walking around no more. I'll fuck you up, son. I'll eat your baby, son. I'll fucking kill you. You don't know. I'll beat your head in, son. No. He's on some total other shit. And that's exactly what it is. It's like there's a love in him. He understands love. Now, a lot of us don't understand love. And Bufo gives you an understanding of love. Psychedelic, nah, because you're not even here. You're not even in this dimension to see shit. You get up out of here. And when you get up out of here, you experience so much. And it is the strongest, most powerful entheogen on this planet. And it will change you. And it will give you an understanding of a love so supreme that nobody else needs to exist for you to know that love is powerful and real and for you to experience it and enjoy it. That's what Bufo is. You know what I'm saying? If I left any out and you want me to cover them, let me know. But I feel like at that, you know what I'm saying? I think I covered the majority of everything that y'all mostly know about. But like I said, if I ain't covered none, you know what I'm saying? Let me know and I'll holler back at y'all. But on that one, tell somebody you love them in a language that they can understand it in. Like Bufo. Peace.